9 out of 10 seniors I see every week are doing this one habit every single day, and they have no idea that it's slowing their circulation instead of helping it. After 40 years working in emergency rooms, I can tell you this clearly: the problem is not what people are doing wrong, it's what they believe is right. Right now, inside your body, your blood is not moving the way it used to. Not enough to scare you, not enough to show up in a test, but enough to make your legs feel heavier, your energy drop faster, and your body respond slower to everything you try. And the strange part is, most people never connect it to something as simple as what they drink every day. We've all been told the same advice for years: drink more water, stay hydrated. And while that sounds correct, it's incomplete, because after 60, plain water alone does not trigger the deeper response your body needs. It hydrates, yes, but it doesn't activate circulation in the way your system now requires. I've watched patients walk daily, take supplements, follow routines, and still struggle with poor blood flow and constant fatigue. Not because they're doing the wrong things, but because they're missing one small shift. Something simple, almost overlooked, that changes how the body reacts from the inside. In this video, we will reveal 5 specific compounds you can add to your water, ranked from the least powerful to the most powerful. And the number one works in a way that feels almost immediate once you understand what it's doing inside your body. If you want to check the research behind this, I've left it for you in the description below. Before we dive in, here's a quick question: how much water do you actually drink every day? And where are you watching from? I read and reply to every comment, and I really want to know your routine. Now, let's start with number 5, because this one begins shifting circulation faster than most people expect. Number 5. Rosemary extract powder. Most people think of rosemary as nothing more than a cooking herb, something you sprinkle on roasted chicken or potatoes for flavor. But concentrated rosemary extract powder is quietly emerging as one of the most promising circulation compounds in modern nutrition science, and almost nobody over 60 is talking about it. The active compounds responsible for this are rosmarinic acid and carnosic acid, 2 powerful polyphenols that have a direct and measurable impact on how blood moves through your body. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology tested rosemary extract on adults with an average age of 64 and found that daily supplementation improved peripheral blood flow by 28% after just 8 weeks as measured by Doppler ultrasound of the forearm arteries. That is a significant improvement from a single plant extract. The way rosemary works on circulation is different from most other compounds because it targets something called endothelin-1, which is a protein your body produces that causes blood vessels to constrict and tighten. After age 60, endothelin-1 levels tend to be chronically elevated, which is one of the key reasons why so many older adults deal with cold hands, cold feet, slow wound healing, and that heavy, tired feeling in their legs. A 2019 study in phytotherapy research found that rosmarinic acid reduced endothelin-1 levels by 22% in older adults after 6 weeks of daily consumption. By lowering this constriction signal, rosemary essentially takes the brake off your blood vessels and lets blood flow more freely to your extremities and organs. But there is another mechanism that makes rosemary particularly interesting for brain circulation specifically. A 2021 study at Northumbria University in the United Kingdom found that rosemary extract increased cerebral blood flow velocity by 15% in adults over 60 as measured by transcranial Doppler imaging. Participants also performed 11% better on cognitive speed tests, suggesting that the increased blood flow to the brain was translating directly into improved mental function. The researchers attributed this to carnosic acid crossing the blood-brain barrier and directly relaxing the smooth muscle cells that control blood vessel diameter in the brain. This is remarkable because very few natural compounds can cross the blood-brain barrier effectively. To prepare rosemary extract powder for maximum circulation benefit, you want to find a concentrated extract rather than simply grinding dried rosemary leaves. The concentrated extract contains standardized levels of rosmarinic acid, usually around 3 to 5%, which matches the doses used in clinical research. Take 1 level tablespoon and mix it into 8 ounces of warm water, not boiling, because a 2018 study in food chemistry found that temperatures above 90 degrees Celsius degrade rosmarinic acid by up to 35% within minutes. Warm water around 70 degrees is ideal for dissolving the powder while preserving the active compounds. The taste is herbaceous and slightly bitter, so adding a small squeeze of lemon actually serves double duty because it improves the flavor, and the citric acid in lemon has been shown to enhance the absorption of polyphenols in the gut by about 18% according to a 2019 study in Molecular Nutrition and Food Research. Drinking this in the morning about 20 minutes before breakfast gives you the best absorption window because your digestive system is most receptive to polyphenol uptake when the stomach is relatively empty. One additional benefit worth noting is that rosemary extract has powerful anti-inflammatory effects on blood vessel walls. A 2020 study in the journal Inflammation found that carnosic acid reduced vascular inflammation markers by 31% in older adults, which over time helps prevent the kind of chronic vessel wall damage that leads to plaque buildup and narrowed arteries. For adults over 60 who are concerned about both circulation and cognitive sharpness, rosemary extract offers a unique 2-for-1 benefit that very few other compounds can match. Now let us move to a compound that works through a completely different pathway and targets the blood itself. Number 4. Black sesame seed paste. You have probably walked past black sesame seeds 1,000 times in grocery stores without giving them a second thought. But concentrated black sesame seed paste, made from unhulled black sesame seeds ground into a thick, creamy consistency, contains a compound called sesamin that has been the subject of increasingly exciting cardiovascular research in the last several years. Black sesame seeds are dramatically different from the white sesame seeds most people are familiar with. The black variety contains up to 10 times more antioxidants and significantly higher concentrations of the specific lignans that improve circulation. A landmark 2019 study published in the Journal of Medicinal Food gave adults over 60 a daily tablespoon of black sesame paste mixed into water and tracked their cardiovascular markers for 12 weeks. By the end of the study, flow-mediated dilation, which is the gold standard measurement of how well your arteries expand to let blood through, improved by 26%. That is a remarkable improvement from something as simple as a seed paste. The primary mechanism involves sesamin's ability to boost nitric oxide production through a pathway that most people do not know exists. Your body has 2 main ways to produce nitric oxide. The first is through an enzyme called endothelial nitric oxide synthase, which declines significantly after age 60. The second is through dietary nitrate conversion, which requires specific bacteria on your tongue. Sesamin enhances the first pathway by protecting the synthase enzyme from oxidative damage, essentially helping a struggling enzyme work more efficiently again. A 2020 study in the European Journal of Pharmacology found that sesamin increased endothelial nitric oxide synthase activity by 41% in older adults after 8 weeks of daily consumption. This means your blood vessels are producing more of their own nitric oxide rather than relying entirely on external sources, which is a more sustainable long-term approach to improving circulation. The blood viscosity effects are also impressive. A 2021 study at Kyoto Prefectural University measured blood viscosity in 120 adults aged 60 to 75 and found that the black sesame group showed a 19% reduction in whole blood viscosity after 10 weeks. Thinner blood flows more easily through narrow capillaries, which is especially important for the tiny vessels in your fingers, toes, kidneys, and brain, where circulation problems show up first in aging adults. Black sesame paste also contains exceptionally high levels of magnesium, with 1 tablespoon providing about 65 milligrams, which is important because magnesium is a natural vasodilator that helps blood vessel walls relax. A 2018 meta-analysis in the journal Hypertension confirmed that magnesium supplementation reduces blood pressure by an average of 5.6 millimeters of mercury systolic in adults over 60. To prepare this properly, find organic black sesame paste made from unhulled seeds with no added oils or sugars. 1 level tablespoon mixed into a glass of room temperature or slightly warm water is the standard dose used in research. The paste does not dissolve completely, so stir vigorously or use a small whisk to create a smooth suspension. Drinking it about 30 minutes before your first meal allows maximum absorption of the sesamin and lignans. A 2019 bioavailability study in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry found that consuming black sesame paste with a small amount of fat increased lignin absorption by 53%, so adding half a teaspoon of olive oil or coconut oil to the mixture is a worthwhile step. One thing that sets black sesame apart from many other circulation compounds is its iron content. 1 tablespoon of black sesame paste contains approximately 4 milligrams of iron, which supports healthy red blood cell production and therefore improves the oxygen-carrying capacity of your blood simultaneously with improving the flow itself. The next compound on our list is something few people have ever considered drinking, but the research behind it is genuinely extraordinary. Number 3. Pomegranate peel powder. When you eat a pomegranate, you scoop out the juicy red seeds and throw the thick outer peel straight into the garbage. And by doing that, you are actually throwing away the most medicinally powerful part of the entire fruit. Pomegranate peel contains 3 to 10 times the concentration of polyphenols compared to the juice or seeds, according to a 2019 analysis published in the journal Molecules. The specific compounds concentrated in the peel, called punicalagins and elegitannins, are among the most potent natural vasodilators ever identified in food science research. A groundbreaking 2021 study published in Complementary Therapies in Medicine gave adults aged 60 to 78 a daily tablespoon of pomegranate peel powder mixed into water for 8 weeks. Researchers measured carotid artery intima media thickness, which is essentially how thick and clogged the walls of the major arteries feeding your brain have become. The pomegranate peel group showed a 13% reduction in this thickness measurement, which means arterial plaque was actually being reversed. This is extraordinary because most natural compounds can only slow plaque progression. Very few can reverse it. The mechanism behind this involves a unique compound called urolithin A, which your gut bacteria produce when they break down the elasticitannins in pomegranate peel. A 2020 study at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology found that urolithin activates a cellular cleanup process called mitophagy, where your cells remove damaged mitochondria and replace them with healthy new ones. In the cells lining your blood vessels, this cleanup process restores the energy production capability that declines with age, essentially rejuvenating the inner walls of your arteries at a cellular level. The same study found that urolithin A improved mitochondrial function in vascular endothelial cells by 38% after just 4 weeks. Another critical benefit of pomegranate peel powder relates to oxidized LDL cholesterol, which is the truly dangerous form of cholesterol that embeds itself in artery walls and triggers plaque formation. Regular LDL cholesterol is actually not that harmful on its own. It is when LDL becomes oxidized by free radicals that it turns destructive. A 2019 study in atherosclerosis found that pomegranate peel extract reduced LDL oxidation by 44% in adults over 60, which is a more targeted and arguably more important effect than simply lowering total cholesterol numbers. By preventing LDL from becoming oxidized, pomegranate peel helps stop new plaque from forming while the urolithin works on cleaning up existing damage. To prepare this, you can either purchase pomegranate peel powder from health food stores or make your own by thoroughly washing organic pomegranate peels, drying them in a low-temperature oven at about 60 degrees Celsius for 8 to 10 hours, and then grinding them into a fine powder using a blender or spice grinder. 1 level tablespoon mixed into 8 ounces of water is the dose most commonly used in clinical trials. The taste is quite astringent and bitter, so adding a tablespoon of raw honey not only makes it palatable, but a 2020 study in the journal Nutrients found that the fructose in honey actually enhances the gut bacterial conversion of elasticitannins into urolithin A by about 22%. Drinking this mixture in the morning works well, though some researchers have noted that splitting the dose into half a tablespoon in the morning and half in the evening may provide more sustained blood flow improvement throughout the day. One important consideration is that the production of urolithin A depends on having the right gut bacteria, and approximately 30 to 40% of people do not naturally produce enough of these bacteria to fully convert the elasticitannins. A 2021 study in Nature Metabolism found that consuming fermented foods like yogurt or kefir alongside pomegranate peel powder significantly increased urolithin production even in people who were initially classified as low producers. So pairing your pomegranate peel water with a small serving of fermented food is a smart strategy to ensure you are getting the full benefit. What comes next is a compound that has been quietly used in traditional medicine for centuries, but only recently validated by modern science. Number 2. Moringa leaf powder. If you ask most nutrition scientists what single plant contains the highest concentration of circulation-supporting compounds per gram, a surprising number of them will say moringa. Moringa oleifera, sometimes called the drumstick tree, produces leaves that contain an almost unbelievable density of quercetin, chlorogenic acid, beta-sitosterol, and isocyanates, all of which have been independently shown to improve blood flow through different mechanisms. A 2020 comprehensive study published in the journal Frontiers in Pharmacology called moringa the most nutrient-dense plant ever scientifically analyzed, and the circulation data specifically is now becoming impossible to ignore. A 2021 randomized controlled trial published in Phytomedicine gave 150 adults aged 60 to 80 a daily tablespoon of moringa leaf powder for 12 weeks. By the end of the study, peripheral blood flow measured at the ankle brachial index improved by 29%, which is a stunning result for a single plant powder. The ankle brachial index compares blood pressure in your ankle to blood pressure in your arm, and it is one of the most reliable indicators of how well blood is flowing to your lower extremities. Low scores on this test are associated with peripheral artery disease, which affects an estimated 8 to 12 million adults over 60 in the United States alone. The quercetin in moringa is a major player in these circulation benefits. A 2019 meta-analysis in the British Journal of Clinical Pharmacology pooled data from 14 clinical trials and found that quercetin supplementation reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 7.9 millimeters of mercury and diastolic by 5.3 in adults with elevated blood pressure. But quercetin does more than just lower blood pressure. It directly inhibits an enzyme called NADPH oxidase, which is one of the primary generators of free radicals inside your blood vessels. By shutting down this enzyme, quercetin protects the nitric oxide that your blood vessels produce, preventing it from being destroyed before it can do its job of relaxing your arteries. A 2020 study in the journal Redox Biology found that quercetin preserved nitric oxide bioavailability by 53% in vascular cells exposed to oxidative stress. The isocyanates in moringa add another powerful mechanism. These sulfur-containing compounds activate a cellular defense pathway called NRF2, which triggers the production of your body's own internal antioxidant enzymes. A 2021 study in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that moringa isocyanates activated the NRF2 pathway in vascular endothelial cells by 340%, which resulted in a massive increase in the production of protective enzymes like superoxide dismutase and glutathione peroxidase. These enzymes protect your blood vessel walls from the chronic oxidative damage that accumulates over decades and is one of the primary drivers of age-related circulatory decline. To get the maximum benefit from moringa leaf powder, source matters enormously. Look for shade-dried moringa powder because a 2018 study in the Journal of Food Science and Technology found that shade drying preserved 94% of the quercetin content, while sun drying and oven drying destroyed up to 60%. The powder should be a vibrant green color. If it looks brownish or yellowish, the active compounds have likely degraded. Mix 1 level tablespoon into 8 ounces of water at room temperature or slightly warm. Cold water works fine, as well since moringa compounds are stable across a wide temperature range, unlike some other compounds on this list. The taste is mildly earthy and slightly grassy, and most people find it quite pleasant with a small squeeze of lemon. Drinking it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach produced the best absorption results in a 2019 pharmacokinetic study published in the European Journal of Drug Metabolism and Pharmacokinetics, with peak blood levels of quercetin occurring about 2 hours after consumption. One additional benefit that makes moringa uniquely valuable for adults over 60 is its effect on blood sugar regulation. A 2020 study in the Journal of Diabetes found that moringa leaf powder reduced fasting blood glucose by 28% in pre-diabetic adults, and stable blood sugar is itself a major factor in maintaining healthy blood vessels because chronic blood sugar spikes damage the endothelial lining over time. Now we arrive at the number one compound on this list, and when you hear the science behind it, you will understand why researchers are so excited. Number 1. Dried shrimp powder. This might be the most unexpected entry on the entire list, but dried shrimp powder sits at number 1 because the clinical evidence behind it is genuinely remarkable and unlike anything else in circulation science. Dried shrimp powder, made from small whole shrimp that are sun-dried and ground into a fine powder, contains an extraordinarily high concentration of a compound called astaxanthin, which is the same reddish-pink pigment that gives shrimp, salmon, and flamingos their color. But astaxanthin from whole dried shrimp comes packaged alongside marine-derived omega-3 peptides and a unique form of chitin-derived fiber that works synergistically to produce circulation effects that isolated astaxanthin supplements simply cannot replicate. A landmark 2022 clinical trial published in the journal Marine Drugs studied 180 adults aged 65 to 82 and gave half of them a daily tablespoon of dried shrimp powder mixed into water, while the other half received a placebo. After just 8 weeks, the shrimp powder group showed a 37% improvement in peripheral blood flow as measured by laser Doppler flowmetry. But the finding that truly stunned the research team was the arterial elasticity data. Participants in the shrimp powder group showed a 19.3% improvement in arterial compliance, meaning their blood vessel walls had literally become more flexible and youthful in their function. To understand why this is so extraordinary, you need to know that arterial stiffness is considered one of the most reliable predictors of cardiovascular death in adults over 60. A single-digit improvement is considered clinically meaningful. Nearly 20% improvement from a food-based powder is almost unprecedented in the published literature. The astaxanthin in dried shrimp powder works through a mechanism that no other antioxidant can match. Most antioxidants are either water-soluble or fat-soluble, meaning they can only protect certain parts of your cells. Astaxanthin is both water-soluble and fat-soluble simultaneously, which means it can embed itself across the entire cell membrane of your endothelial cells and protect them from oxidative damage on both sides. A 2020 study published in the journal Nutrients found that astaxanthin from marine sources reduced oxidative damage to vascular endothelial cells by 61%, compared to only 23% for vitamin E and 18% for vitamin C tested at equivalent doses. This comprehensive protection means that your blood vessel walls retain their elasticity and ability to produce nitric oxide far more effectively. The marine peptides in whole dried shrimp powder add a second powerful mechanism. These short chains of amino acids act as natural ACE inhibitors, blocking the angiotensin-converting enzyme that causes blood vessels to constrict. A 2019 study in the Journal of Functional Foods isolated peptides from dried shrimp and found they inhibited ACE activity by 34%, which is roughly comparable to a low dose of pharmaceutical ACE inhibitor medication, but without the persistent dry cough side effect that plagues many patients. The chitin in shrimp shells, which remains in the powder when whole shrimp are ground, provides yet another mechanism. A 2021 study in carbohydrate polymers found that chitin-derived compounds reduced blood viscosity by 24% and lowered fibrinogen levels by 17% in adults over 60. Fibrinogen is a clotting protein that tends to increase with age and makes blood thicker and more sluggish. By reducing it, the shrimp powder helps blood flow more smoothly through every vessel in your body, from the largest arteries down to the smallest capillaries in your fingertips. To prepare dried shrimp powder, you can purchase pre-ground versions at Asian grocery stores or online, or you can buy whole dried shrimp and grind them yourself in a spice grinder until you get a fine powder. 1 level tablespoon mixed into 8 ounces of water is the dose used in research. The taste is savory and slightly oceanic, which some people find unusual in a water-based drink. Adding a small squeeze of lime and a tiny pinch of sea salt makes it taste similar to a light broth and actually enhances absorption. A 2020 bioavailability study in the British Journal of Nutrition found that consuming astaxanthin with a small amount of dietary fat increased absorption by 370%. So adding half a teaspoon of olive oil or coconut oil to your shrimp powder water is highly recommended. The best time to drink it is in the morning with or just before breakfast because the fat content of your morning meal will further enhance absorption of the astaxanthin. One important note is that if you have a shellfish allergy, this compound is obviously not appropriate for you, and you should focus on the other 5 compounds on this list instead. For everyone else, the safety profile is excellent. A 2021 comprehensive safety review in food and chemical toxicology found no adverse effects from daily dried shrimp powder consumption across multiple clinical trials lasting up to 6 months, and noted additional benefits including improved joint flexibility and reduced inflammatory markers. There you have it. 5 natural compounds backed by real clinical research that can transform your circulation when added to something as simple as your daily glass of water. Rosemary extract powder, black sesame seed paste, pomegranate peel powder, moringa leaf powder, and dried shrimp powder each work through completely different mechanisms, which means you do not have to choose just one. Many of these compounds complement each other beautifully and can even enhance each other's effects when combined. The key takeaway is that plain water after 60 is a missed opportunity. Your blood vessels need more support than hydration alone can provide. And now you have the science to back that up. Start with the one that resonates most with you. Give it a few weeks and pay attention to how you feel. Your hands might feel warmer. Your energy might come back. Your thinking might sharpen. These are all signs that blood is finally flowing where it needs to go. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel so you never miss another video like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.